Hey, I'm Clinton. I'm going to be your instructor over the next 8 weeks in the software development lifecycle course. I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce myself and to give you an overview of the course, tell you what you can expect, to tell you how you can be successful in the course, to give you my expectations and some tips, and just to whet your appetite, because we're going to cover some really important stuff that's going to benefit you throughout your career as a software developer. So let's jump in. Alright, first I wanted to talk a little bit about myself, just try to give you the opportunity to get to know me, personalize the guy that's going to be grading your material and responding to your questions and trying to guide you. So one, I love teaching. I've been doing this for 3 years now. It is a part-time evening job, but I work really hard at it. I try to make this course as valuable as I can. I am a software developer by trade, and that's what I do during the day. I've been doing it for 11 years. If teaching paid more, I'd do it full time, because I really do enjoy helping people pursue their dreams. So I want to introduce you to my family. So there's a picture of us. That's my wife Ashley and my son Andrew. We were on our family vacation this year, the first time we've gone anywhere in 3 years, and we went out west and just had a great time seeing the beautiful western scenery. In this picture, we're at Arches National Park in Utah, so awesome place if you ever get a chance to go. Academically, I got my bachelor's in computer science from Georgia Southern University and a master's in IT management from Western Governors. I served in the Army for 13 years and got out as a captain. I was a signal officer, so I did IT and communications in the military. As I mentioned, I've been a software engineer for 11 years. I worked for the government directly as a civil servant. I've worked in the private sector. I've worked as a contractor for the government, and I've loved every minute of it. So it's a great job. You're pursuing an awesome career, so congratulations, and I hope that I can help you to be successful through what you learn in this course. In my free time, I enjoy reading, long-range shooting, and riding four-wheelers or ATVs. So let's talk a little bit about the course. As you already know, this is a course over the software development lifecycle. What is a software development lifecycle? So when you're working on any non-trivial project, it's going to involve more than one person in most cases. And when you have more than one person working on something toward a common goal, you've got to have a organizing framework to structure their efforts. Okay, and that is what the software development lifecycle does. It is a business process for how a team of multiple people can collaborate to achieve a common goal. On the screen, you'll see your textbook. It is freely available. You can go get it from Southern New Hampshire's library website. Go to their website and look for the EBSCO search. You can type in the textbook title and it'll pop up, or you can do the really easy option, which is to go into any one of the 8 modules in this course, and there will be a link in every single one straight to your textbook. Too easy. You can download the PDF and search it. It's awesome. So how is the course organized? So let's talk about that. First, we're going to start out by looking at the history of software development life cycles. So in the grand scheme of things, software development is a very new field, okay, and it doesn't have a lot of history on how to get things done. And what you're going to learn in this course is that originally people started out by taking your standard engineering practices like structural, architectural, or electrical engineers would use to achieve a project, and they tried applying those to software and found that it didn't work out so well. And so we're going to look at that, and you'll look at the reasons that people turn toward a more agile method, and we'll analyze that, compare the two, and hopefully you'll walk away with the ability to make an educated decision on your future projects about which methodology is best for those projects. Following the first week, we're going to cover the 4 main roles in Scrum, so the Scrum Master, Product Owner, Tester, and Developer. And then we're going to analyze a few case studies, real-world case studies, including one from Amazon and one from one other major corporation about their experience with Agile and Scrum. And finally, we'll look at how, if you're in a really large organization with tens of thousands of people, how do you take this Scrum methodology, which is normally tailored to a team of 7 or 8, and how do you scale that up to accommodate thousands of people? So we'll look at that. One final note, the entire course is modeled around a mock project that runs throughout the course. and that project gives us a frame of reference for our discussions, and it gives you a sandbox to practice the skills and to role play the different Scrum roles in as we work through the course. So with that, let's talk about what you can expect to get out of this course. 3 things. You're going to be able to explain the different software development lifecycle methodologies. So you'll be able to explain, like the original ones, like waterfall, the V model, the spiral model, and others. You'll be able to explain Agile and Scrum. You'll be able to compare and contrast the two. You'll be able to apply the basic stages of any SDLC model within an Agile Scrum environment. So what that means is you'll be able to explain and perform things like requirements gathering, requirements analysis, implementation, testing, deployment. All right, you'll be able to do is basic software development phases in a Scrum way. And then finally, you'll be able to evaluate these different methodologies. I mentioned that earlier. And you'll be able to make an educated and informed decision about which one is the best for the project that you're working on. Why does all of this matter? Because there is a big difference between a coder and a software developer. So anybody today can go out on Google or Stack Overflow and search for how do I program in fill in the blank language. And you can plug in like one of 50 different programming languages. And then you can walk away in 10 to 15 minutes with a compiled Hello World project. That is easy. What is not easy is working on a large team, a team of multiple people working toward a massive goal with hundreds or thousands of requirements, and being a successful and effective member of that team. So you need to know how to effectively contribute as a member of a larger team. You need to be able to implement these small pieces, these small parts of overarching requirements, and plug those in to all the other implementations that all your other developers are working on, and it works, okay? And you're not hindering them, but you're actually contributing value to the team. And then finally, you need to be able to continuously evaluate your own performance. And that is one of the things we'll look at that was a massive influence on Agile, the lean methodology, about continuous improvement. So that self-reflection and self-awareness that allows you to see where you're falling short and then adjust course to improve that the next iteration. These are the things that set apart the real professionals from the amateurs, okay? And that is why this course is valuable to you. And after working in this field for 11 years, I can tell you that even though this is not one of the more technical courses, it is extremely valuable. So please don't cheat yourself. Take this course seriously and get something valuable out of it. With that, I want to take a more in-depth look at the course schedule. So we're going to flip over to a web browser here, and I'm going to go through each of the 8 weeks and just give you a nice overview of what we're going to be doing and the focus of each week. On your screen, you should see the weekly assignment schedule. So if you're wondering where to find this in Brightspace, once you come to the CS250 courses home screen, you'll see a box that says Start Here. So click the Continue button on the Start Here box. And then if you open the navigation for that Start Here module, you'll see Syllabus. Once you click on Syllabus, just scroll down the screen about halfway and you'll see the schedule. And that's where we're at right now. So the first week, Module 1, we're going to talk about, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about the historical aspects of the SDLC methodologies. We'll talk about the shortcomings of other methodologies like linear sequential models such as waterfall, and we'll explain the reasons that people moved away from those and moved toward more agile methodologies. So there are quite a few reasons, but don't accept the bias that you find on the internet, okay? So those older models are not all bad, and there are times and projects where they are very appropriate, far more appropriate than Agile, for example. So although they're not very commonly used, there are still times you might want to use these older models, and keep that in mind as you start to read the textbook for week 1. All right, moving on. Module 2, we're actually going to look at Scrum in particular. So there are many different Agile methodologies. Scrum is the one we're going to learn in this course. And in Module 2, you're going to get a introduction to Scrum, and you're going to learn the different roles in the Scrum team, and you're going to specifically focus on the Scrum Master. In fact, in Module 2, you're actually going to play the role of the Scrum Master and build a couple of artifacts for the project that we're going to be working on throughout this course. So you actually have an assignment here called Scrum Events. So there's Scrum Events, and you're going to also have a journal. So one thing I want to say about the journal is they're very important. I'll talk about this a little more later in this presentation, but just, actually put some real effort and time into the journal. Don't neglect them. It will pay you dividends later. Module 3, you're going to play the role of the product owner. You're going to actually review a conversation between the client and the product owner, which is the person you'll be playing, but it's a little slideshow that you'll watch in Brightspace, and you're going to take that conversation and extract the requirements that you should implement in code from that conversation. And then you'll take those requirements and you're going to document them as user stories, which is one of your assignments, and then you will actually implement those requirements in code. So you'll actually have a coding assignment in week 3, your first one. Now, one thing I will say is this course is not primarily focused on coding. It's not the emphasis in the course, and the coding assignments are actually very simple, relatively speaking, but don't neglect them. And they do, their primary purpose is to give you an opportunity to practice what you are learning about working on an agile team. Again, don't neglect the journal in week 3. All right, week 4, you're going to be looking at the role of tester, and you'll be playing that role. You'll actually be writing test cases, and these are based on the user stories you wrote in the previous week. All right, and you'll be looking at a very interesting case study about Amazon and how they implemented the agile idea of the 2 pizza team. So very interesting. Module 5, you're going to not be playing any more roles, because at this point we've covered all the roles. Okay, but Module 5 is where you will have the opportunity for the client to give you some feedback, which is one of the most important differences between older methodologies and Agile. Is Agile encourages that client involvement. So you're going to get some feedback from the client, and you're going to implement those changes in code, which means your second coding activity will be in Module 5. You will be playing the role of developer in this module, so I was incorrect. And as I mentioned, in that role you'll be implementing changes from the client. In Module 6, you'll be looking at a case study from a real-world corporation, a very large corporation, and you'll read about how they used agile methodologies to solve several large issues they were having in their corporation. And then in Module 7, you'll be doing nothing but focusing on getting your final project submitted. You will have a portfolio prep non-graded assignment where you set up your GitHub project for this class. And then in Module 8, you'll be looking at how Scrum scales up to really large organizations, like tens of thousands of people, and you'll be submitting your work assignments into that GitHub project you created in Module 7. And that concludes the course. So let's jump back into the presentation now. Alright, the next thing that I want to cover is your assignments. So I want to talk about those in a little more detail, a little more depth. Primarily I want to give you some tips on how to succeed at the assignments. Specifically, I'm going to show you where you can read the syllabi or the rubrics for the assignment. So I encourage you to go through the syllabus and then read the rubric for each individual assignment. So these assignments are tailored, the rubrics are tailored to each assignment, meaning each assignment has its own individual rubric. Now there is a common rubric for the journals, there is a common rubric for all of the discussions, but each of the assignments in this course has a very specific rubric, and I encourage you to read those carefully and make sure that you tailor your submissions to satisfy those rubrics. I will be grading each assignment explicitly by the rubric, and the reason I do this is it eliminates as much subjectivity as possible from my grading, and it ensures that everybody gets a fair grade. So let me talk a little bit about the coding assignments. They are not the focus of the course. Okay, this course is not as technical as many of the others that you'll be taking. That's not the intent of the course. However, I encourage you to give your full effort and do the best you can on the coding assignments. If you have any questions or get stuck on them, please reach out to me. I know that you guys cover several different programming languages throughout your degree with Southern New Hampshire, and so Java may not be your strong suit. That being the case, feel free to reach out. Java has been my primary language for the past 11 years, so I feel like I'm fairly proficient at it, and am happy to help. The coding assignments, their purpose is to serve as a prop, all right, a prop for you to practice your Scrum skills and to fill the Scrum role. So you can think of this as a role-playing activity, and that's what the purpose of these coding assignments are, is to give you something to practice those skills on. Now, the Scrum assignments are mostly written, and they are the focus of the course, so I encourage you to do your absolute best on these. Feel free to do your own research. Absolutely read your textbook, read the material provided in the course, and read any additional optional readings. I encourage you to do that. All right, so don't cheat yourself in this course. This is your chance to get the most out of it. Obviously, you're in charge of what you do, so just don't cheat yourself. You're paying for this. Get the most you can out of it. What are my expectations? I expect you to be concise, be organized, and be correct. Okay. So, meet the standard and do it correctly, and don't cheat. No plagiarism. Don't cheat yourself, though. All right. So don't do the bare minimum. Okay. Get in there, read the material, read the rubric, and then build the assignment out to satisfy it, and do your best at it. All right. Because you want to leave this course and you want to go shine at your new job. You want to be the star. That's how you get promoted. That's how you get raises. Okay. Support all your claims and assertions with citations, so don't copy other people's work without giving them credit for it. Grammar and spelling do matter. I'm not going to kill you over, a couple of misspellings or grammatical errors or a missed period or comma or whatever. But if I have a difficult time reading what you submit, your grade will reflect that. Absolutely no plagiarism, okay? No course hero, no former Southern New Hampshire students' assignments being resubmitted. Don't copy material from the internet and run it through a deplagiarizer. I will catch you. You will get a 0, and I will report you to the school. I don't mess around about this. Please do your own work. All right, with that, I actually want to show you something that I built out for you guys. I built a course site for this class, and on the course site, the most valuable thing you'll find is the tips. Okay, these are the tips on how to get the maximum credit out of your assignments. And each semester I update these, so if I see students consistently making the same mistake over and over, I go out there and I add some content or another bullet point to these tips, and they are what I look for in a quality submission. So it's kind of like your study guide, okay? So it's as close to you can get to cheating without actually cheating. All right, so with that, let me jump over to the web browser and I'll give you a tour of the course site. Alright, on your screen you'll see the course site that I built. A lot of the material on here you can find in Brightspace. For example, the syllabus, required text, which is your textbook, my contact information. You'll also see the schedule. I think this is a lot more easy to consume than what is in Brightspace. Their calendar's far more spread out. This is concise and it gives you a quick snapshot of the start and end dates for every one of the 8 weeks this course covers. But as I mentioned, the emphasis of this website is the assignment tips, and that is where you'll find the most value. So we're going to take a look at week 2's assignment, which is the first actual assignment you'll do in this course. And week 2's assignment is divided into 2 deliverables. The first is the Agile Team Charter, and the second is the daily Scrum format or agenda. So I cover both of those, and you'll find that several of these assignments have more than one part, and I talk about each part individually. I give you tips, and what I call the pro tips. So these are the tips if you want to get the maximum credit, this is how you do it. So let's look at an example. Now the Agile Team Charter, a lot of people I found had a difficult time figuring out what the difference between the business case or vision is and the mission statement. So, of course, I spelled that out for you here. Now, the business case for vision, as you can see, it talks about the value that the client hopes to gain from the completion of the project, while the mission statement talks about what the Agile team hopes to accomplish during the or by the end of the project. So two different things. The value the client hopes to add, in the case of the project of this course, might be they want to reach more customers, they want to broaden their marketplace capture, while what the mission statement for the Agile team is to deliver some sort of application, in this case one that shows a slideshow of the different vacation packages, or shows each individual customer vacation packages they may be interested in based on their past activity. So you can see that although these two things sound very similar, they do have slightly more specific focuses than what you would see at first glance. And in the past, I've found that students had a hard time differentiating between those two, and I explain that. So I go through each of the different parts of the Agile Team Charter, explain what you need to do. I give you some ideas, because a lot of the times these are open-ended assignment tasks where you had to come up with your own ideas. So I try to give you some pointers or some starting points for you to start generating ideas and just kind of help get your imagination going. And at the end of every single assignment, I also tell you how to submit it. So sometimes it's not extremely obvious how to do that. So you can go through here. I encourage you to read each one of these as you work your assignments. Before you start them, go read the tips, follow the rubric, and you won't have a problem. All right, so check it out. I'll post a link to this in the announcements, and let's jump back into the slideshow. All right, the next thing I want to talk to you about are the discussions in this course. So discussions are extremely important in any course, particularly when you are going to school online. These are the opportunity for you and your peers to create a marketplace of ideas and to learn from each other. So I feel like you do your best learning when you're actually learning from your peers, because you get to bounce ideas off each other, challenge each other's ideas, and it can be a lot of fun if it's done correctly. So we're going to try to do that in this course. We're going to try to facilitate that for you. You're going to have a discussion every single week except week 7. I expect you to post your submissions by midnight every Thursday. That is your first post, okay? Your answer to the prompts given. And then I expect you to provide a response to at least 2 of your peers by midnight Sunday every week. I require more than an I agree in your responses. All right, so there are 3 different ways, 3 different formats I encourage people to follow when responding to their peers. One is I agree, and here are the reasons why. Okay, so you can agree with somebody, but you need to provide some substantiating evidence. You need to cite that evidence, and you need to inject some new ideas that your peer did not mention. Okay, so don't simply say I agree and I like your reasons why and those are my reasons. No, you're not an echo chamber. Okay, your job is to provide new ideas, build on the conversation, encourage more feedback. So if you simply agree, that ends the conversation right there. I agree is not enough. So again, one option is I agree, and here are some other reasons that you didn't mention that support your position. Okay, so you can agree with them, but you got to help them back it up with some new stuff. Secondly is I disagree, and here are the reasons why. So you can disagree with them respectfully and then back it up. Bring the receipt. Okay. Finally, you can neither agree nor disagree. You can say, well, here is another perspective. You're not necessarily wrong or right, but here's a different take on the prompt. And again, support that with evidence. Bring the receipts. Okay. Make sure you cite your sources. So let's take a look at the rubric. So I think this is really important. The rubric for the discussions is definitely one of the rubrics I pay the most attention to, because discussions are just inherently hard to be objective about, but I do try my best. So first, make sure you answer all the prompts. Many weeks you'll have more than one prompt, and many weeks one of those prompts will have sub-bullets. So make sure you cover all the details. Make sure you get your first post in by midnight Thursday, get your other 2 in by midnight Sunday, okay? And make sure you do submit 2 posts, all right? So here's the deal. If you only submit 1 response to appear, so you submit your post and you submit 1 response to appear but not 2 responses, you automatically get a needs improvement. If you only submit your post and don't submit any responses to peers, then engagement becomes 0. So let me clarify. The engagement row refers to you responding to your peers. If you only submit a response to 1 peer, then you get a needs improvement for the engagement row. If you submit no responses to peers, you get a not evident or 0 points for engagement. Okay? And if you only say I agree, or I determine that that's what it boils down to is simply I agree, then I will dock points appropriately. Finally, writing mechanics. Again, I'm not going to beat you up over a few misspellings or mispunctuation, but if I have a hard time reading your writing or interpreting what you're trying to say, your grade will reflect it. So I encourage you to use a tool like Grammarly to check your writing, make sure it's legible, clear, and understandable. Okay, so Grammarly is a great resource. You can install it in your browser for free. I love it. I use it when I respond to you guys, so please take advantage of that. Let's look at your journals. As I mentioned earlier, journals are particularly important in this course because your final project, the first half of it, is based on your journals. So as you write your journals, you are building the first half of your final project. What is their purpose? They give you an opportunity and force you to critically analyze what you've learned that week. Okay. They give you a place to record your lessons learned from role playing the different Scrum roles throughout the course. They help you prepare for the final project. Again, these journals, they build up over the course and they make up the first half of that final project, so don't neglect them. And they're an easy source of credit, okay? If you turn in something that's, at a minimum, non-trivial, you'll get credit for it, okay? Too easy. Let's look at that final project I've been talking about. So it's due in week 7. That's when you'll submit it. There are 2 parts. The first half is the sprint retrospective and review, and that is where you actually look back and you critically analyze how effective the Scrum methodology was at satisfying or completing that project that we worked on throughout this course. Okay, so it's not necessarily a traditional retrospective and review like you would do in a real-world software project, but it is a retrospective. You're looking back. It's a post-mortem, a chance for you to critically analyze your performance on a project. In this case, the mock project we do in this course. Finally, the second half is a Scrum Agile presentation. So in it, you are essentially teaching an executive level audience, so non-technical people. You're teaching them what is Scrum, why is it great, and what it does is it gives you a chance to prove that you understand the content well enough to explain it to non-technical people. So that is a very challenging way of proving your expertise on the material. Finally, again, be thorough in your journals, and this final project will be easy. Okay. All right, course communication. If you need to contact me, there is my email, and you can also find it in Brightspace. I get emails directly to my phone, and I usually respond very shortly after that. I value your time, and so I try to turn around those responses quickly. I ask in return that if I email you directly, you value my time and get back to me as soon as you can. I am happy to video conference. I often find that a 5-minute video conference can cover what several days worth of emails could, so I really like video conference. If you need to video conference me, it's a 2-step process. 1, install Zoom on your computer, make sure it works, make sure your webcam works, make sure everything's good to go. 2, email me and let's schedule one evening during the week, and we'll schedule some time there, and then we'll meet. Okay, too easy. When I contact you, I will either post an announcement in Brightspace or I will email you directly. I encourage you to install the Brightspace Pulse app, P-U-L-S-E. It's on Android or Apple. Search in the app marketplace for P-U-L-S-E, Pulse. Install it, and you can log into Southern New Hampshire's Brightspace website directly through that app. You'll get the notifications directly to your phone when I post announcements. I also encourage you to install the Microsoft Outlook app on your phone and connect it to your Southern New Hampshire email. and that way when I send out announcements to the class, you get them immediately. Too easy, okay? Last slide, my expectations and your expectations of me. So what can you expect from me? I am here to make you successful, all right? You are a non-standard student, because you are going to school online. This is a fully online course. What that tells me is you are already self-disciplined, okay? So I ask that you use that self-discipline, make yourself successful. I'm here for you. I'm here to guide you. I'm here to provide you my expertise and experience, help you learn lessons the easy way instead of the hard way. I am here to explain the material and make it relevant to you and show you why it's important. Okay, but you have to be disciplined enough to do the work, to read the textbook, to put forth the effort necessary for you to actually get something of value out of this course. All right, so I am here for you. I answer my emails promptly. We already covered that. I'm happy to schedule video calls. We talked about that. I post grades as soon as I possibly can, and I guarantee you will get them no later than the following Tuesday. I grade by the rubric as objectively as possible, okay? I have an opinion, but I keep it out of my grading because I want to be fair. And I make every effort to help you to learn. All right, that is my success. My rating, my standard, what I shoot for is you being successful. Okay, so the more people that walk away from this course with something of value and with a good grade, the more successful I consider myself to be. Now, what do I expect of you? I expect you to do the reading. All right, don't cheat yourself. Read the textbook, read the articles, take the time. That is where you get your knowledge from, and it will benefit you. This course is not just a time waster. It's not another way for Southern New Hampshire to get some money out of you. It is valuable. Okay, I've learned that in 11 years. I've seen the value of understanding software methodologies. So take the time to get this out, to get what you can out of the course. I expect you to be honest, no plagiarism, meet the deadlines, give good responses to your peers. Don't cheat your peers with a simple I agree. Finally, make arrangements, not excuses. If you know you're going to miss the deadline on something, reach out to me ahead of time. We can work out something. If you come to me afterwards, it's too late already. All right? So with that, let's get started. We're going to have a great semester. Do your best. I look forward to getting to know every one of you.